Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or hello, hi, welcome if you are new here. My name is Leah, also known as Wellness Medic, and I am a fourth year medical student from the University of Sheffield, mental health advocate and also a social media content creator. So for today's video I have a lovely fresh cup of warm coffee, and I thought we'd just have a nice little chit chat video covering a topic which I think is very close to my heart, as it is a feeling that I've had quite a few times within the last few years, and that topic is why it is okay to be unsure about pursuing medicine. That is both before medical school, during medical school, and in fact after. So as always, if you like this video, please give it a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below for more videos like this and so much more. So first of all, let's start right at the beginning by mentioning that doubts are most definitely normal, and they are a normal thought process that we have for so many different things, for so many different reasons in our lives throughout most aspects. So medicine isn't different to have these doubts. The majority of people choose whether they want to study medicine at 17, 18, and that's just sending off the application. The thought process typically happens years beforehand. This is so young. You are so young when you make this decision to choose what you want to do for the rest of your life. You're just about growing into adulthood. You're just about growing into the person that you're going to be. And to make these really important life decisions is really scary. And I know they say that you should 100% be committed to medicine since you're like, a child. But it is absolutely normal to not feel 100% about it all the time, because you're still growing, you're still learning, you're changing, your passions are changing, you're changing as a person. There is so much going on when you're maturing and when you're growing, and just in life in general, there's so much going on. So it's normal to change your mind, it's normal to be unsure, it's normal to have doubts. Also, I think if you're on social media, you'll also see a lot of the more negative aspects of working in medicine, which I think is important to know about, but it can make it feel more difficult when you've already got doubts. As well as this, you'll see medical students that do an insane amount of study, that do an insane amount of medicine 24/7, and this can be really intimidating. So again, it's normal to have these doubts running through your mind. Just kind of going off the changes that I mentioned earlier, that what you want from life can change, and that's okay. What you want to receive out of life and what's important to you in life and what you want to aspire to be in life, these can all change as you grow, and that's completely okay. The next thing I'd say that certainly caused a lot of doubt in my mind when it came to pursuing medicine was the fact that medicine for a lot of us is put on this pedestal. It's put at the top of our aspects, the top of our personality, the top of who we are. Medicine is on that pedestal. Now, a lot of people do go through this. I was definitely one of them that put medicine at the top of my pedestal, and I made a lot of sacrifices to get to where I am, and I still do have to make sacrifices, and I can't come on here and tell you you won't have to sacrifice things for medical school, for a career in medicine, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice everything, and you shouldn't have to sacrifice your happiness. But you can see how it can be so easy to get caught up in it and to be swept up in it and to find yourself sacrificing everything and therefore having doubts. Finding balance in medicine is one of the hardest things I've had to do, and it has been exceptionally rewarding, but it still is exceptionally tough. It still continues to challenge me to find balance. So what I'm trying to tell you, I guess, is that it is normal to feel like you have to leave everything behind for medicine, and that can cause huge doubts in if you want to consider a career where you have to leave everything behind. But this certainly isn't the case. You don't have to sacrifice everything for medicine. So if I can calm your doubts slightly, it's the fact that you can still have work-life balance, you can still pursue your passions outside of medicine, do things you want to do outside of medicine, but you do have to be organised, you do have to be on top of it, and there will be a small amount of sacrifice. And you know what? No one's going to judge you if you need to take time to consider these doubts, to consider these changes that you've gone through, to consider what you want from life. I mean, I'm the perfect example of that. I literally took a year out of medicine halfway through because my mental health had become so disrupted because of the way that I was viewing medicine on this pedestal. I'd got extreme anxiety. I'd got really depressed because I thought that my whole life had to consume medicine, and I thought that my worth was only down to medicine. So taking time, whether that be a leave like me, whether that be just a short weekend, whether that be an evening, whether that be a gap year, there's nothing wrong with taking some time to really consider these things. And I would actually say that's really admirable that you've taken the time to really consider if you're happy and consider what you want. When I took my leave, I had a lot of thought process like this. I had to do a lot of thinking about what I wanted in life, and it was more so that I realised that I'd just gone about everything completely wrong. I'd gone around about medicine completely wrong, and I had put it, not only had I put it on a pedestal, but anything that came close to being on a step was kicked to the side and was completely ignored. And I just find that so incredibly sad now that I did that. But it is so easy to do. So make sure you pull yourself up on it if you find that happening. Speak to someone, friends, family, healthcare professionals. Speak to someone you trust, because it is so easy to get caught up in that hamster wheel where you're running and running and running and you don't realise how you're being affected. Right, so now I've got through all of the doom and gloom of medicine and why you'd have doubts, because it's exceptionally tough. Let me talk to you about how you can overcome these doubts and what you can do to combat them. Kind of like what I just said, the first thing I'd recommend is either speaking to someone about them or writing them down, or just getting them out there in the open. Even if it's talking to yourself in the mirror, get your thoughts, get your fears out in the open. Once they're out, you can look at addressing them. But whilst you keep them locked away, it's just going to be harder and harder to approach them and do something about them. So something I did was I spoke to people that I trusted, like my parents, and I spoke to my fiance, and I just got it out in the open, and then I got them to challenge me on them. I don't mean challenge me in the sense of going, oh, they're silly doubts, like why would you be thinking like that? It's medicine. Like, absolutely not. What I mean by challenge is see if you can get them to ask, why do you feel like that? Is this necessarily true? Is this necessarily 100% correct what you're saying, or has a lot of this come from your mind and your own opinions and perspectives on a medicine and your opinions on yourself? Because a lot of them for me was me saying, oh, I can't do medicine because I'm not clever enough, I can't do medicine because I'm not good enough, I can't do medicine, so on, so on, so on. Whereas actually, once I got challenged on them, well, you say this, but you've got this far, you say this, but you're a 4th year medical student, you say this, but you've passed exams, etc. Once you start challenging them, you can realise, actually, I know he's got a point. And then it's about working out whether you can accept them on your own, or perhaps you might need a little bit of help to rewire and retrain the thought processes in your brain to accept them. That was a big part of it for me. I started to question, yeah, I know he's right, but I can't feel that myself. So I went to therapy and I started to learn some techniques which have been really beneficial in me accepting those challenges in my own head. So next time I have doubts, I consider, is this a realistic doubt? Sometimes it is, and that's okay, because we are all allowed a certain amount of doubt. But sometimes it's actually a case of me just getting caught up in myself and putting myself down when they're not actually doubts, they're just me looking down on myself. And I guess for me, and I think it stands for a lot of medical students, a lot of people in a tough spot, is that imposter syndrome can be the best friend of doubt. Imposter syndrome causes a load of doubt, and it certainly did for me. Like I just explained to you, you're not clever enough, you're not good enough for medicine, so should you be doing it? You'll never be able to cope, you'll never be able to hack medicine, blah blah blah. All of that is imposter syndrome that is causing doubt. Imposter syndrome rises, doubt rises. It's about combating them, finding what one is the root of the cause and combating it. Now for me, it was the imposter syndrome that was causing so many other problems in my life. It had caused a decline in my mental health. It had increased my doubts about my medical degree, but also about so many different aspects of my life. It had caused me to bring this level of self-loathing into my life and start to dislike not only what I did but how I looked and so many other aspects. But once I realised that, and like I said, I went to my therapist and I spoke to my therapist about my imposter monster, and it just started to make that little bit more sense. It wasn't a miracle cure, it didn't happen all at once, but it's taking time, and it still is taking time. And I think that's one of the biggest messages I want you to take away from this, is that I still have doubts about medicine. I still have imposter syndrome moments. I still have doubt, and that is absolutely okay. It's part of the process, and it's about learning more about yourself, and it's about becoming your own friend and learning to love who you are in this present moment, and that learning that it's okay to have doubts and still be an amazing medical student. You could be top of your game and having doubts. You could be finding it really difficult and still having doubts. Everyone has their own personal doubts, and you will find that. You will find the people that you look up to, because you're like, oh, I'm having doubts about medicine because I'm not as good as they are. They're probably over there having doubts about something else completely, or still about medicine, or about someone else that they look up to. And the cycle just continues and continues. So once we take that step back and we focus on ourselves and we focus on our own journey, that is the first step to overcoming these doubts. It's also important to address that these overcoming and combating your doubts, it's not a infinite cure. It will come back. You will still have doubts in life, but now you know how to address them. Now you know how to take them on and thrive and kick them to the curb, because there will still be times in life where you have doubts, and it's not always about medicine. But now you know what you can do about it, because you've sought help, because you've addressed the problem, and that is amazing. Well done. Congratulations for you for taking that first step. I mean, you're watching this video, so you're probably in this situation, but now you're addressing it. So congratulations. Well done. Now go on and thrive. I think that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoy it. Like I said, doubt is very normal. I still have it, and you probably see a lot of that over on my Instagram at Wellness Medic. Little plug there. Like I said, if you like this video, please do give it a massive thumbs up. Please do subscribe down below. It really does mean the world to me. And I will see you next week for another video.